Hello, welcome back to my channel. I'm starting a floral series where I create garments using floral fabrics, and I'm so excited. Here I have 2 yards of this beautiful knit four-way stretch floral fabric. And this is a type of like peach skin type fabric. It feels so good, and it's kind of like velvet, but not exactly. So let's begin. Alright, so here I have my dotted paper. You can use brown paper or this type of paper, and I'm just folding it in half. And I'm gonna take my basic dress pattern and lay it right on top of this paper just to trace the top portion of the top. And you can use a bathing suit, you can use a t-shirt and your underwear that you use to create this bodysuit. Okay, um so right now I'm just marking where the waist is at, and I'm just gonna be tracing from there all the way to the top of the shoulder. So I'm just placing some tape to just stabilize it. Okay, and so using my pattern wheel, I'm gonna just trace my pattern onto the folded paper that I have so that I can get the shape. And then when I remove this dress pattern, I'm just gonna go over it with a pencil. And this is just a close-up view of what I'm doing, and I'm just making an indication there. And now to the bottom portion of this bodysuit, I'm just gonna connect where I made that mark and just trace a line. Now you can use your panty, you can use your bathing suit bottom, whatever you have, to create the bottom portion of this bodysuit. Okay, so I'm just tracing, going all the way down. I'm just gonna draw a line right at the bottom, and you see where there's just something there, a seam right there, and I'm just gonna put an indication on my pattern paper of where that is using my French curve ruler. I'm just fixing the lines and drawing the lines in. And so right here I'm just making the waist a little bit more curvier since this is going to be a fitted bodysuit. So I just want it to be nice and fitted. Okay, so this is how it is. See, I just changed the line a bit. Alright, so I'm just also fixing the panty line using my French curve, and just making sure everything is clean. So now this is just me examining this bathing suit that I have and seeing what seam allowance there is on this bathing suit and the hemming, and just examining this bathing suit so I can put that onto my own pattern. So I decided to do about 1/4 of an inch. I made it 4/8 of an inch. I may be wrong, but you can just do 1/4 of an inch. That's what I'm doing right now, all the way down. And then also for the neckline, I'm doing 1/4 of an inch. And for the side seams, I'm also putting 1/4 of an inch. So I'm going all the way down. So this is how it looks. Now I'm just leaving that part empty. I'm gonna be folding it back 1/2 an inch. Now I'm writing all my information on the pattern. Make sure you write information on your pattern pieces. I don't care what pattern piece it is, make sure you write all the information down. I'm writing knit fabric, I'm writing what kind of pattern it is, what seam allowance I have, how many to cut, the date, everything. And this is the front portion of the bodysuit, so I'm going to include that. Okay, so on to cutting. So I'm going to cut this pattern out. It's good to create patterns so that you can keep creating the same type of garment, just with different fabrics and different, all that good stuff. But it's just important to create good patterns so that you can use them again. Now I'm using my notcher to create notches for the pattern, but you can just use scissors, it's no big deal. Just create notches where it's most important, the armholes, the front and the back. And this is how it looks. So now this is the back portion of the swimsuit that I have here, and you're gonna have to create two patterns because the front and the back are not the same. The back side is much more bigger than the front, so I'm just completing the same exact process as I did for the front, and I'm cutting it out. And I'm doing the same exact thing, writing all the information down. Writing in my green line. And this is how the patterns look. Front and the back. And I also have my sleeve, which I already created before. So here's the fabric, and now I'm trying to figure out where I want the pattern pieces to go. Starting with the front portion of the bodysuit, I want that big flower to be right by the shoulder. As you can see, I want that flower to be located right by the shoulder. So I'm going to place my pins all around, just making sure that the pattern is stabilized on top of the fabric, okay? And pins are your best friend, so don't ever abandon the pins. Don't always use your pins, alright? So you're just gonna go all around like I'm doing. And what's fun about these prints is that you can just decide where you want the prints to be located on your garment, and it's just fun. So I'm just cutting. So I'm gonna put that pattern piece to the side, and I'm gonna move on to the back portion. So now I want that big flower on the other side, on the left side of my shoulder. And the flower in the front is going to be located on the right side of the shoulder. See, you get it? You get it? It's going to come out so nice. I'm so excited. Like, I got a little design going on. Like, what? So, again, I'm just cutting it out the same way. And I'm cutting out the notches. And I'm moving on to the sleeves. So, again, I have my own little design going on. I placed the pattern where I want it to be located at, and again with the pins. Pins is your best friend, like I said. Like, just use as many pins as possible, whatever's comfortable for you. Whatever makes you feel more comfortable with cutting out your pattern pieces. Okay, so after cutting out my first sleeve, I placed it on top of each other so that I can get both right arm and a left arm. Do not place the same pattern twice, because you're gonna get either two right arms or two left arms. So make sure you do that. So this is how I wanted the plants to be, or the palm plants, the palm leaves to be. One going up and one going downward. So now I'm working on the bias tape to go on the neckline of this bodysuit, and I'm going diagonally And this is just me using a strip of the fabric, the leftover scrap fabric that I have, and I'm just making it plain and simple for myself, going right diagonally um, on the fabric, and it's gonna be a 1.5 inch bias, quote unquote, tape. And you can get the tape from a fabric store, but you can create your own as well, like I'm doing here. And this is how it looks. And what I'm gonna be doing is folding it twice on both sides, and then you just fold it again. You see, it's gonna look really good. So I'm gonna take the patterns apart, and then I'm gonna pin the shoulders first. I'm gonna do the shoulders, and I'm gonna do the side seams. So I'm just gonna pin one side first. Okay. Doo-doo-doo-doo-doo. Alright, this is how it's looking. And headed to my brother serger machine. I'm just gonna sew the shoulder part first, 1/4 inch. You see that long thread? I'm just gonna cut it off. And I'm doing the same thing for the side seam. Here's a close-up. I love doing close-up so you can see what I'm doing. I like to show detail in my work. So I hope y'all find that useful, that I'm giving you guys up close and personal shots. So here I am again, and now I'm sewing the sleeves together. And I was done with that. I'm gonna take it to the sewing machine and sew it up. And after I'm done, I put the sleeve right into the bodice, and I'm lining up the seams, underarm seams that is, and right sides together, right side of the sleeve to the right side of the bodice, and I'm just pinning all around, and I'm just giving it a little stretch so that I can pin it. And that's what I'm doing. So make sure it's lined up, make sure the seams are lined up. And now I'm just sewing all around. And this is what it's looking like. You see how the seams are lined up properly? Make sure it's lined up nicely. Make sure it's nice and neat. Okay, so here we go with the neckline. So in order to find out the middle of the neck, the back, I mean, you're just gonna fold it in half, and that's where the center is. So now I'm gonna fold the bias together, and what you're gonna do is sandwich the bias binding into the neckline of the bodysuit. Okay, so using my cover stitch machine by Brother, I'm going to give it a professional finish with this machine, and I'm just gonna take my time with this because you don't want your neckline to be looking all raggedy and ugly, and you know, no, we're not doing that. Just make sure you take your time and do it correctly, because that's what people are gonna see the most, because it's noticeable, so just make sure you do it right. And this is how it's looking so far. It looks really nice and neat, and this is what the cover stitch does. It gives it that nice double lined stitching, and yeah, it looks good. So now I'm gonna do the panty line portion, and I'm gonna use the same machine, and this is how it looks. It looks good, looks good. Alright, so for the crotch area, I'm just gonna fold it half an inch. This is the front portion of the suit. Okay, and for the back portion, this is what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna take a little piece, an extra piece of the scrap fabric that I have, just to make it a little bit more sturdy, a little bit more, bulkier. Because remember, we're gonna put some snaps to the crotch area. So I'm gonna sew it down. So I just inserted that scrap fabric into that folding. And now using these little snaps that I have, I'm gonna take my thread and needle, and all you're gonna do is just sew right through them. And there's a couple slots around the snaps, so I'm just gonna be doing one by one, but it's not that hard. Just go through it, through the fabric and through the snaps. That's all. Bada bing, bada boom. That's all, and you good to go. And you could also use Velcro maybe too. That would be um, interesting if you're not really into the snaps, but we usually see the snaps that go with the bodysuit. So just takes one, two, three, and now I'm gonna do the back portion. Okay, so I'm going through it, and after that I tested it out, and so this is how it's looking. And so this is how it looks, guys. This is really nice, clean. Boom. Look at the flower. Look at the flower. That's the statement right there. That's the statement. And then look at the back. Look at the back. Look at the back. Yo. Oh man. Buy some floral fabric and have fun. I'm telling you, you're going to really enjoy this project. So thank you so much for watching. And I'm going to see you in the next video of this floral series. Later.